Yeah, John Jungkook, give me that bag. I'll do this by myself. I don't need your help. He said, trying to snatch the towel from his hand, but he laughed and ruffled your hair before turning you back around and starting to wipe your hair again. You looked at yourself in the mirror and sulked when you saw the fresh mark on your neck just given by him. Jungkook, look at what you did. Now I have to cover this up. Jungkook smirked, his eyes twinkling with mischief. I think it looks cute. Besides, it's my way of marking my territory. You shook your head and slightly flicked his forehead. Don't forget that we are still at your parents' house, mister. What if any of them saw this? How embarrassing it's going to be, don't you know? Talking like they never do this. Don't forget that we are already married, my love, and now we can do anything. You don't have to be embarrassed over such things. You smiled and turned to face him. He looked at you and smiled while rubbing your hair with the towel. You stay there looking at him for a second and then speak. Crazy. I also need a confidence like you. He smiled and pulled you closer to him by your waist. What's the need of confidence when you have all me? You giggled. You just got married yesterday with the love of your life, Jungkook. You and Jungkook have been dating for the last 5 years, and finally, just a month ago, he proposed to you for marriage. Jungkook feels the need for a good job and a stable settlement before marriage. That's why it takes such a long time, or else the way you both trusted and love each other doesn't even need dating for a month. His family also likes you a lot. You are not close to them much, but you often used to visit his house when you were dating, and they all were so nice to you. Last night was such a disaster for both of you. Well, it's your first night, but full of struggles, and the biggest struggle was your dress. That was not ready to come out even after Jungkook used his whole power. At a point, he totally made his mind to torn it, and second, that sudden appearance of lizard in the room. Until now, he used to think that you are only scared of street dogs. But that's the totally new year of yours, he saw. And then the non-stop talk about the wedding as you both judge each and every person who pissed you both, and that's how your night went. By the morning you both get too tired and want to rest more, but as his mother already informed that today is a family lunch, his whole family is gathering together, so you have to be there on time. You are a little nervous but happy too, to start a new life with Jungkook. Getting nervous? He asked, looking at you while you nodded slightly. Don't worry, I'll be with you the whole time, okay? And I'm sure you're gonna like my family too. They all are so good and open-minded. You can be all free with them, okay? He said, brushing your nose with his. You smiled and nodded. By the way, what am I going to cook today? You know my cooking skills. What if they don't like me after seeing my cooking? Well, yeah, I know that except me. No one can tolerate that food, he said teasingly. Don't worry, mom is here to look for everything, and if she can't help you, then your dear husband is always ready for your help. Go, get ready. You nodded and was about to walk away, but he grabbed your hand. You looked at him confused. He walked closer to you. Don't you think you're forgetting something? You looked at him confused while raising your brows. He chuckled and tapped on your nose. Come on, I need something in return for my help. Nothing is free in this world. You know that, right? Not even for your wife? No, my darling, not even for my love. But I can make it easy for you. Your one kiss is enough to pay for my help, he said, smiling while you scrunch your nose. You didn't even brush your teeth. Come on, you can't ask me to brush my teeth even today. We are married and it's my right, he said, leaning in to kiss you, but you pushed him away, laughing. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door, making you both stop. He looked at Jungkook and he cleared his throat. Yes? Jungkook, are you guys ready? Mom is calling you downstairs. A voice came behind the closed door. Jungkook hummed. We will be coming in a few minutes. She nodded and you both sighed when you heard her footsteps going downstairs. You are giving me a kiss or not? Stop being childish and just go. You said and pushed him towards the bathroom. He looked at you, pouted. You sighed. You are really crazy. Ria helped Vian in the kitchen. We will be there in few minutes, okay? Ria nodded and looked at you, smiling while you also smiled at her. You never saw just a big family. It's so chaotic here, but somehow you like it. You looked at Jungkook and he gives you a assuring smile. You smile back at him. Ria noticed you both and smiled. Jungkook really loves you a lot, right? You quickly snapped in reality and looked at her while she smiled innocently. You can hear a teasing tone from her voice. You gulped and nodded. Let's go, we need to prepare for lunch before mom comes. Okay, come with me, but before that, I think you should cover your neck. Your eyes widened, you looked at her and she walked towards the kitchen smiling at you. Ah, it's embarrassing. Sister-in-law, are you coming? She shouted from the kitchen. You sighed and looked at Jungkook one last time. You ran towards the kitchen. Come on, that's a cheating dad. No wonder how you win every time, he said, wincing like a child. You smiled slightly, admiring all the cousins sitting in a circle and playing cards. And as always, Mr. John cheated. One habit of his that can never be fixed. And why not? After all, he is the father of John Jungkook. And for him, winning the game is the real motto. When did I cheat? Just don't say anything, he said, rolling his eyes, making you chuckle a little. You also want this type of confidence. Really? Then we can check your cards, right? That's what we call cheating. Why I let you see my cards? Come on, Uncle John. You had cards hiding behind your back. Is this also yours? She said, joining the conversation and taking out the cards behind Mr. John's back. Everyone looked at him shocked while he smiled slightly, scratching the back of his neck. Dad, that's not right. You have been winning all the games like this, he said, putting his cards down, mixing them with the other cards. Of course, he might be losing the game, so finds a way to escape. He's always like this. Uncle John, that's not right. You are cheating with us. Hey, I'm not. I don't even know how these cards come here. They all sighed together, already know that whenever he lies, his ear turned red. Like father, like son. Can't you just let the children win this game? Mrs. John said, placing the tray of juice between them. Well, if you say so, then I'll let them win every single time. Just for you, my lady. He winked, making Mrs. John's cheek turn red in no time. You all laughed at her cuteness. They both are truly the best example of a happy couple. You are left with no shame, she said, slapping on his arm, while everyone around smiled, seeing their cute interaction. No wonder from where Jungkook got such good flirting skills. Come on, you are acting like they all are innocent and don't know anything. Just when the sentence slipped down from his mouth, everyone's eyes went on you while some of them looked at Jungkook, and your face once again turned all red. Actually, I think I'll bring juice for you all. You said and run inside, making all of them laugh at your cuteness. But I already bring the juice. You don't have to bother, my child, she said while controlling her smile. You heard her, but going to ignore her words for sure and will pretend like you heard nothing. Come on, will you guys stop teasing her? She's not even enjoying the day properly because of you guys. Stop making her shy every time, he said, trying to sound serious and mature, but instead end up making everyone laugh again. Come on, don't be so greedy, Jungkook. You are there to protect her all your life. Let us have some fun with her too. It's not like we are going to snatch her from you. Yeah, you. He got up and ran to catch her while she screamed and ran upstairs, making others chuckle at their childishness. Mrs. John smiled and extended the glass of juice towards Mr. John. They all are looking so happy, right? And especially Jungkook. Why not? After all, he finally gets the love of his life. This time of life is always magical. Well, our stage of life can be also magical if you want, he said, slightly nudging her shoulder. Mrs. John sighed and slapped on his hand. You always look for a chance, pervert. Have some shame now. Even your son got married. At least stop it now, she said, walking towards the kitchen while smiling. Mr. John chuckled and looked at her. And who says I can't be romantic now? Romance can be done in any phase of life. Can't do anything for you. She shook her head while Mr. John laughed. You were in the kitchen while others were outside busy with their work. You just found it more relaxing to be here because if you went out there, you were sure you would regret your decision. You sighed, taking the plate and wiping it with a cloth, but suddenly flinched when you felt two arms wrapping around your waist. You quickly turned around and sighed with relief when you saw Jungkook. He pecked your lips. Yeah, what are you doing here? You whispered while trying to free yourself from his grip, but he tightened his grip around you and smiled innocently. You scoffed. I was about to ask you the same. What are you doing here when everyone is out? Nothing, just mom gave me some work. I'm doing that, and now you're disturbing me. You said and tapped on his nose. Turning back to the counter, you started to clean the plates again. Jungkook sighed and rested his chin on your shoulder, admiring your hands. Are you uncomfortable between my family? His sudden question made you frown your brows. You looked at him with your side eyes and again focused on your work. He waited there for your answer. Well, yeah, his family is too different from yours. You were a single child, most of the time alone at your place as both of your parents were working. You spent your life in a complete silence. No one to have fun with, just all silent and alone, and sudden change in the environment makes you a little uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean you don't like them. They all are so good. Who said I'm not enjoying with them? It's just they tease a lot. A chuckle left Jungkook's mouth when he heard your cute complaints. Well, he also can't do anything in this matter. Just like you, he is also the victim here today. You are talking about Ria. She is always like this, but if you are not comfortable, then I can tell her to stop. She has no right to make my wife feel uncomfortable. Hey, don't do that. She will feel bad. And now leave me. You're disturbing me, Jungkook. Come on, you have been busy at work since the morning and even ignoring me. Can't I even spend a few minutes with my wife? How cruel you can be. Really? Then go and ask your relatives the same thing. Will they give us some personal time? Because I can't afford to give them another reason to tease me. This day can never be more embarrassing than this. Come on, they all are busy in their work. Look. You looked back and sighed. Well, I don't know what supernatural power your family used to show up at every wrong time, and especially your cousin Ria. She seemed too good in this. I missed you. Aren't you missing me too? Stop being childish. And if you don't have any work, then help me. You said, moving him a little away from you and handed him the dinner plates. If you're that much free, then help your wife instead of giving her hard time. Okay, since when spending time with your wife falls in the list of bothering her? He said, stomping on his feet like a child, and followed you. Since the day we got married, why you even take a leave from your work, huh? Come on, now you are hurting me. You smiled slightly when he winced like a child and placed the plates on the table. He walked to you again. Since you are not here to talk or help me, but to do something, then I'm sorry, I'm busy. You said, flicking his forehead, and placed the last cup in the rack. You turned to leave from the kitchen. But a low gasp left your mouth and you quickly jumped, hugging Jungkook from the side. He looked surprised but chuckled and hugged you back. You looked at the dog who was standing just an inch away from you, looking at you with his big doe eyes, and then looked at Jungkook whose eyes were on you already. You never told me that you have a dog at your house. Ah well, you never asked me if I have any pet or not. Don't be crazy, Jungkook. Stop making me feel like I'm new at your place. You said and looked at the dog again, but he barked at you, making you flinch. Your grip around Jungkook's waist get tightened, making him laugh. Bam baby don't like when someone scolds me. Don't you think he's too big to be called baby? Let me introduce you to him. He might be surprised to see the new face at our place. Bam, she's your mommy. Say hello to her. He said, bending down to him while you chuckled. Crazy man. He barked again. You bit your lower lip. Jungkook, you know that I'm scared of dogs. Please tell him to go away. Don't be scared. I know that his way to say hello is a little different, but it means he already like you. You know Bam don't like anyone else easily. You are lucky. You sighed and looked at the big Doberman who was staring at you. Jungkook whistled, making him walking a few steps closer to you, making your heart almost come out from your body. You squeezed him tighter in your arms and hid behind him. Jungkook, please tell him not to come near me. Wow, my baby, the thing I wasn't able to do since the morning, you did that in just seconds? You really think it's fun? Jungkook looked at you and nodded innocently, making you scoff. He kissed your forehead and just about to kiss your lips, but I know, and even Mrs. Becky, Aish, these kids, John Jungkook not here, and Ryan, I told you some work. Did you finish that? You flinched when his mother suddenly walked in. You quickly pushed Jungkook away and looked at Mrs. John and Jungkook's auntie, who was looking at you too with a teasing smile on their faces. Or it's just you think this way. Mom, it was Jungkook who was disturbing me. I told him to go out, but he didn't listen to me. You said trying to form your words, but they shattered as you were so embarrassed right now. Now you just want this day to over as soon as possible. I was helping her. She was the first one to hug me. Ask her. And that's when you feel like getting betrayed by your own husband. You looked at him and scoffed while he looked at you with a straight face, as if he said the fact. You were helping her like this? You rolled your eyes and take a step away from him to leave, but Bam Bak looking at you again and you jumped and hugged Jungkook. He smiled and looked at his mother, raising his hands up. As I told you, she was the one to hug me first. You quickly pulled away while they all smiled. Okay, okay, enough. Just go from here now. Your dad is looking for you. He had some work with you. Now go and focus on your work rather than sticking around your wife every single second. That's hard. Uncle John wants the brother to look for some work in the office. But here he is not ready to leave sister-in-law even for a second. We know that you both get married just yesterday and need some quality time alone, but that doesn't mean you both will ignore us. Just control your emotions, brother. You, he said and ran to catch her. Mrs. John sighed and looked at you. Ryan, we will do this work. You just pack the lunch for Jungkook and see him off. She said and walked out while you nodded and turned back, letting out a deep sigh. You started to pack his lunch. I'll go crazy for sure today. Thank you, he said, taking the lunchbox from your hand. You smiled and fixed his tie. You grow up like a gentleman, but still don't know how to make tie properly. He chuckled and took some steps closer to you, towering over your small figure. That's why I have you, right? To keep me in check. You rolled your eyes playfully, but your heart warmed at his words. As you finished adjusting his tie, you couldn't help but notice how close he was, his familiar scent enveloping you in. Jungkook leaned in, his lips brushing your ear. And maybe because I like how you fuss over me. A blush crept up your cheeks and you lightly smacked his chest. Flattery won't get you anywhere, mister. Jungkook smiled, his arms finding their way around your waist again. Oh, I think it might, especially with you. You tried to maintain a stern expression but failed miserably. A giggle escaping your lips, you looked into his eyes, feeling a rush of emotion. Just be careful out there, okay, and come back soon. Jungkook's expression softened as he kissed your forehead. Well, I don't want to go, but I promise to bring back a surprise for you. A surprise? What kind of surprise? You asked, raising an eyebrow, curious. He winked, releasing you and stepping towards the door. You'll just have to wait and see. With one last smile, he left, leaving you standing there with a mix of anticipation and love. You sighed happily, already looking forward to his return. Oh, a surprise. I wonder what that could be. You flinched and looked at Ria, who was smiling at you. I think mom is calling me. You said and ran inside while she laughed and followed. Hey, don't ignore me like this. I was just teasing Jungkook. I don't have any intention to make you uncomfortable, Ryan.